It's time to add machines, and the noob starts with an automatic composter solution. He has a lot of poppies from the iron farm, which he can compost into bone meal. Making the automated composter is easy. A chest or barrel feeds into a hopper, which in turn feeds a composter from the top. The composter then composts all organic items, and when it is full, the bottom hopper collects the bone meal made and places it into a chest or barrel below. The noob immediately places all his poppies in the barrel above to compost them into bone meal. The noob makes a new temporary exit for himself by the enchanting area. This is a temporary solution until he finalizes the basement. The noob needs more space for the rest of the machines he would like to add to his base. He therefore begins extending the basement area to make space for a few more machines that he knows he will use a lot. He mirrors the space he already made and adds more storage. He decides to remove the composting solution and to rebuild it elsewhere. Instead, he decides that he will make an exit. In the same space, he also places a bed next to the gift he has received from his neighbor. The noob really appreciates his neighbors very much and holds the gift he receives in the highest esteem. The Noob-Friendly multiplayer server holds the potential for great neighbors just like the ones the noob has. The noob adds a circular staircase from the basement to the ground level. This will connect to the rest of the home that he has planned above the ground. You may notice that from time to time, the chests turn to stone blocks. While it may look unusual, this is typical when there are no players nearby or players looking at the chests. It is a feature of a multiplayer server that has incorporated anti-lag features to ensure that the performance of the server is at its best and has no adverse impact on gameplay. The noob finishes the extension in the basement by adding a roof, covering the jack-o'-lantern lighting with trapdoors, and adding the same orange terracotta flooring. Once the extension is complete, the noob resumes adding the various mechanisms in his home. He begins by adding a furnace array so he can smelt many items at the same time. Next, he begins working on a nanofarm. A nanofarm is the smallest farm that a player can make and consists of a single block of farmland. One makes a nanofarm by placing water next to the single block of tilled soil, which ensures it is permanently saturated. Then, on all three sides of the farmland, dispensers are placed. A single redstone dust is placed on one side, adjacent two of the dispensers. An observer is placed on the rear dispenser, looking down. Solid blocks, in this case planks, are used to fill in the space on either side of the dispenser. A piston is placed in front of the observer, and redstone dust is placed over the observer and planks. A lever is placed on the dispenser, which is on the same side as the redstone dust. At this point, the three dispensers must be filled with equal amounts of bone meal. The bone meal is what accelerates the growth of the crop. Once the dispensers are filled, a stair is placed in front of the farmland block. The farm is activated by flipping the lever, which then becomes the off position. To use the farm, the lever is turned on and the player stands in the corner between the front dispenser and stair and right-clicks on the farmland with a crop, in this case, seeds to make wheat. The dispensers immediately convert the seeds to wheat, and the piston breaks the crop so the player can place the next one. The farm will give the player more seeds, so the farm will run until the dispensers run out of bone meal. The noob adds a chest and stores seeds, beetroot seeds, carrots, and potatoes, so he can use them to grow more of each crop later. Next, the noob prepares a pointed dripstone farm. Pointed dripstone is farmed by placing a solid water block over a dripstone block under which a single pointed dripstone is placed. Using a piston and observer over a hopper feeding a chest, it is possible to fully automate the collection of dripstone. The noob decides to keep it simple and just builds a manual solution with the dripstone block and pointed dripstone. Next, the noob makes an infinite lava solution. One only needs to place lava on a full block that has a pointed dripstone under it. The pointed dripstone will drip lava drops, and when a cauldron is placed under it, will eventually fill the cauldron. One must be careful with lava, as it could cause a fire. So the noob covers all sides of the lava with glass blocks to minimize the risk of his basement catching fire. Next, the noob makes a garbage disposal solution. This consists of a trapped chest feeding a hopper, which feeds a dropper that points downward into a cauldron filled with lava. Two observers point into each other and trigger the items to be incinerated. The observers are turned off with a lever connected to a sticky piston under one of the observers. The noob next makes a stone generator to make infinite quantities of stone and cobblestone. This is made with 4 hoppers pointing to a chest or barrel. 4 temporary blocks are placed over the hoppers. On either side of the temporary blocks are stairs which need to be closed off on either side, in this case with trapdoors. The stairs are waterlogged, and the ends keep the water from flowing out. Above the stairs and the trapdoors in the middle, glass blocks are placed. This will house the lava, which is placed above the temporary solid blocks. The lava is placed and then covered with more glass. When a player breaks the temporary blocks, the water in the stairs on either side will join in the middle, forming a solid water block. When the lava above falls down onto the solid water block, it forms into stone. The machines are all built. The noob makes one last thing: an infinite water source. He places 2 buckets of water in opposite corners of a 2x2 space, which then converts into 4 solid blocks of water. Regardless of which of the 4 blocks the noob removes water from, the water is automatically replaced. This completes the noob's basement machine builds. Join the noob at Noob-Friendly and try your hand at building machines using the mini redstone blocks available in the game. We await your coolest machine creations.